Welcome everybody out to podcast number 455. Today we're going to continue our progress going through the tact control, the production control, the schedule control series, and we are going to talk about installing with a quality product. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I really hope you're doing well. I've already gotten some really good feedback on this little series because it's just such a mystery. Like, how many times have we in our industry heard that we're going to increase production, or hey, we have this great plan, and then we talk about how do we increase production control out in the field, and everyone's like, throw more manpower at it. Speaking of that, a really trusted colleague asked me, what is the difference, or maybe he already knows and he just asked me to clarify, what is the difference between throwing manpower at something and swarming? So I'll tell you the difference. Throwing manpower at something, usually people, leaders in an office will say, oh, your crew's not doing well, go get more manpower. And then after that, what happens? Is there any follow-up, right? Is there any ensuring that they're onboarded and doing well? It's just, hey, get people out of the hall or go get people from wherever or off the streets or at Home Depot. And I'm not being irreverent. I'm just being like, leaders are really flippant about this, and go get people and just throw them on the crew and make it the foreman's problem. That is throwing away from you and throwing people away, throwing manpower at a problem. And that doesn't do any good because it increases the complexity of communication. It increases the production loss from onboarding. It increases the production loss from having too large of team sizes. It increases the production loss from context switching. It increases the production loss of the need to work overtime, like we've talked about before. It goes against Brooks's law, which Felipe taught us about so well. So that's what throwing manpower at something looks like. Swarming is something completely different. You use existing resources that are already onboarded, already in the right team sizes, already are focused without context switching, aren't necessarily working overtime, and you're not adding you just additional manpower with something. You're using existing crews, existing resources. Swarming means if you have an area, you will use existing crews, help, or a concerted focus from leadership, the general conditions, general requirements, coded general foreman, logistics foreman, and craft from the general contractor on the project side. And everybody that is needed will swarm together in existing operating team environments to tackle a problem. And so that's what swarming is. I'm really glad that we had that clarification. Really, most of the time, project leaders lazily, if that's even a word, will just say, oh yeah, just add manpower. And they never ever go anywhere after that. Like, it doesn't go anywhere after that. They've just hoped that this was like a magic bag of sand that they can just sprinkle on or whatever, pixie dust, sprinkle over the project, and it'll make problems go away. No, it'll make it worse. But if you lean in and actually help streamline things, improve the education, offer a little bit of help, realign crews, everybody focuses, there's a little bit of teamwork and leaning in there, you can do amazing, wonderful, just, I hate to say it again, but just amazing, wonderful things together. And that's what swarming is all about. I hadn't thought about it beforehand, but let me just go ahead and look up here, swarming on the internet, and swarming in construction, see if I can get a definition here. What is a swarm? No. What is the purpose of? Nope. I'm not getting the definition. I should have said swarming in lean, or as a lean concept, because it is a lean concept. And so I will return a report. A behavior whereby team members with available capacity and appropriate skills collectively swarm on an item to finish what has already been started before, moving ahead to begin work on new items. Yeah, okay, there we go. Swarming in kanban means, in general, team swarming means to come together to get something 100% done before working on anything else. Team swarming is recommended when teams get stalled. When work on a story seems to be taking longer than expected. This compromises their goals and targets. Okay, so I'm glad I was able to figure out these definitions on the Google over here, or else Felipe would have had my head. Swarming occurs when as many team members as possible work simultaneously on the same priority item, and they work on just that one item until it's done. And so the difference between throwing manpower at a problem is that you're taking additional resources and hoping that it will magically just work, right? And swarming takes existing resources in a respectful way and leans in as a team. They're two completely different things, right? There aren't very many bags of magic out there that just make things better, right? The only two things that I really know about is paying tithing and forgiveness, right? Those are things that just always work, and prayer. Like those are the three bags of magic that I know about, and throwing manpower or something isn't one of them. So let's go ahead and head into the rest of this podcast. And we're going to talk about installing with a quality product. Now, you might be like, Jason, this is old news, but hear me out. Hear me out. I came up with Hensel Phelps, great company. They had a 6-step quality process that I think was adapted from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And they really turned this into a fantastic process, fantastic manual. It was really, really well done. And we were trained, brainwashed almost as superintendents to implement this system. And I've told you before that I've seen superintendents and general superintendents literally run their projects off of this system, meaning like they will literally ensure the project is successful by using the quality process, by using the different steps and implementing them well at the right points in time. And I've told you this before, and I don't see hardly anybody when I go around in the industry talking about a quality process, following the quality process, or even making a big deal of making sure that we are on the same page with certain things. And so we're installing work badly. We're in a rush. We're installing it and we're like, just get it in, just so if we're in a lot of cases, just so we can just go back and install it a second time. It's like, this is insane. This is ridiculous and insane what we're doing here. So it's not a given. It's not a boring topic. And it's very much a part of a production system, a schedule system, and tax control, because we have to have quality at the source. Now, what quality at the source means is that we have systems in place where anybody can pull the andon, where anybody can stop the work. And in orientations at the research laboratory, the message in the orientation was, we don't install anything wrong. If it's wrong, we tear it out and fix it right there. But hopefully we catch it before that point. Any worker is obligated, and it is their duty and is expected to stop the work if we're installing it wrong, and to call the team leader and make sure that we get back on the same page. Now, there were folks that were skeptical about telling workers this. Oh, they won't do it, but we had great success. We had people constantly saying, hey, this isn't right, let's stop. Quality of the source means that the entire team as a collective with total participation is focused on a quality product at the source, that they know that leadership's priority is not speed, but it is the installation of quality products at the source right from the beginning. And that if they see a deviation to that, they are to stop the line, stop the work, stop the crew, and get it back on track. That's what quality at the source means. And so when somebody says, oh, do you want us to focus on production or quality? What are you talking about? That's a weird question. That's a non-starting question. Production is quality. We have to have things installed right, because we don't have the time to install it or to go back and rework it. The other thing is it costs 2 to 12 times as much to go back and rework it. And so from a budget standpoint, we can't do it anyway. The other thing, from installing a quality product intact, we have to finish as we go. And I know I've mentioned this before, but we have to finish work as we go. Once we're there, we need to finish it. Now, somebody's like, oh, Jason, are you saying go start a room and finish just that one room all the way to finish? No, I didn't say that. Stop being ridiculous. What I'm saying is, if you're installing conduit, in-wall overhead and in-wall rough-in, and you're installing pathways for low voltage and electrical systems in the room, then finish all of that. All of the back boxes, all of the screws, all of the fasteners, all of the conduit, overhead and in-wall, all of the putty pads, everything that you need 100%, any labeling to trace the circuits, anything that you need to finish that work as you go. Don't go just install a bunch of conduit overhead and in the wall and leave the putty pads off and leave the back boxes off and don't do a full screw inspection. Finish as you go, right? I hate the demonizing of the word production. People are like, yeah, I want to go do my production work and install 75% of everything and then come back and that's not production work. Finishing as you go is production work. Okay. The other thing is to install quality work in a production mindset. We have to have standard work. I've told you my dream over and over and over is that every crew, and you civil contractors out there can do this. You specialty contractors out there can do this. You concrete crews, you can do this. For general contractors, it's a little bit more difficult. But what if every crew had a beautifully formatted, accurate, up-to-date, and project-specific feature of work board with bullet lists, QC checklist items to where they wouldn't move forward until it's checked, and visuals of what the expectation is for that installation? Amazing. It would be absolutely amazing. And then prefabrication. Prefabrication, we don't prefabricate just to prefabricate. We prefabricate because it vets problems early. Think about it like this. Not only are workers in a better environment, not only do workers have better bathrooms, not only do workers have better weather, not only do workers have better tools, less motion, better taking care of bodies, all of the things if they prefabricate in the shop. Not only do we create jobs for truck drivers, not only are we in safer environments, but if you think about it, in order to prefabricate, we had to draw, detail, and coordinate these items and vet any possible RFIs, problems, or roadblocks ahead of time, and they happen ahead of the installation of the work. So if there is a roadblock, they don't happen on site where it hinders production. They happen in the shop where, yes, you probably lose some labor hours, but it doesn't slow the project down. We do prefabrication because it allows us to prevent roadblocks and to not be impacted. We have a better product and we're in safer environments. And prefabrication will ensure that we have focused on quality at the source even before the materials arrive on the project site. And so those four things: quality at the source, finishing as you go, creating standard work, using standard work for that matter, and the prefabrication are all absolutely key to installing with a quality product on our project sites. And so if somebody said, hey, I really want to achieve production, do you want production or do you want good quality? I would say a couple of things. Production is quality. And if somebody said, hey, I want to go do all my production work and come back, I would be like, no, finishing as you go is quality, right? And we have to get finishing as you go is production. Sorry. We have to get our mindsets back reined into the proper usage of the wording here. And so my message here is that if we really want to achieve good production and good flow, we will install with quality at the source. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.